The first few years of working as a community music practitioner are filled with opportunities for growth and learning. This is a critical time for community musicians to hone their skills and to refine their identity and practice. These early years present challenges that are different than those experienced in graduate school programs or later on in a community musician's career. My goal here is to highlight some of the challenges that I've encountered and to continue the discussion around the unique needs of early career community musicians, making the case that support is needed and critical at these early stages. So I bring to you a few stories from the front lines of my first 5 years of practice. I was accepted to the MA in Community Music program at the University of Limerick 5 years ago in Ireland. After completing this degree, I freelanced for a couple of years in my community of Yellowknife back in Canada, offering programs to the public and partnering with different organizations to offer programs to their clientele. The last 2 years, I've been setting up and beginning to run a community music space called Music Space. And in this space, there's a large workshop area that I use for my programs. I also make it available and accessible to other music leaders to run their own programs. There's a couple of studios in this space as well. My values and identity relating to my community music practice are all about making music accessible to all ages and abilities. I challenge people's identities as musical, creative, and people who are actually able to sing. I challenge these identities for people. And my work is always based around finding ways to build community and create social connections between the participants. At the bottom of the screen, this is just an example, some of the examples of the types of programs that I've run in the last few years. I'm going to present 3 different main challenges through this presentation. First of all, group dynamics, and then target participants, followed by work-life balance. Group dynamics and strong personalities can really sometimes make or break a positive experience. How successfully a group can work together, or how much certain individuals impact the group dynamic can be difficult to manage. So here are a couple of examples that I have faced. I ran a summer day camp for kids ages 8 to 12 called Strum and Drum. And of the 10 participants, one of them was experiencing autism. Now, this brought quite a bit of disruptive behavior to the group activities and the individual activities, to the point where some of the participants found it very difficult to enjoy the experience and to successfully engage with the one individual with autism. Now, I found it challenging to balance and to know how much to accept and include this individual and encourage the other participants to do the same, while recognizing that it did have a pretty strong impact on the overall success of the group and cohesion of the group. How much do I enforce the requirement to follow the rules of engagement that we had set out at the beginning of the week? Another example was with a group of teens that came in with a strong social connection between 4 of the teens that were very confident. 2 of the teens were best buds, but having a little bit of social anxiety. And then there were 2 individuals. Now, I mixed up all of the individuals through different group activities over the 4 weeks that we met. But there were moments when putting individuals on the spot in front of their peers seemed to really create a lot of anxiety, both for the individual and the group. So how much do I push and challenge and encourage to take risky steps? Or how much do those activities emphasize that there's a division in the group in social confidence and social ease? So did my choices strengthen the social division, and what could I have done to support each individual? What could I have done to improve the group cohesion? These are questions I ask myself. Another circumstance that I struggled with was target participants, getting the people that I wanted to be part of the group to show up. So with Sing Pop YK, there were a lot of adults who showed up who didn't think that they were singers or didn't think they belonged in a choir. This is a drop-in pop choir. That's not relevant what your musical abilities are. Everyone's welcome to come. But I was hoping that a larger dimension of the community would show up. So I would reach out to some organizations that worked with newcomers to Canada and suggesting this is a great activity to make connections, meet new people. I reached out to an organization that had that serviced adults with learning or physical disabilities, thinking another great opportunity for social inclusion and engagement and community building. But these individuals did not naturally turn up. And why is that? Well, is it because of the type of activity? Is it the location? Is it how things were communicated? Or the fact that I didn't have a strong relationship with those target participants? Another circumstance with newcomers to Canada, where we offered a program thinking we would bring different people together to meet each other and create connections. But instead, it was just the same people who showed up every week, and they already knew each other. So they weren't creating new bonds. So we created a new program at a different time, a different place, a different style. And in that circumstance, it was just happenstance who ended up coming. It wasn't all the people that we invited, but it was just people who happened to be in the building. And so we always modify and make the most of the circumstances, but I struggle to understand how to deliver programs that my participants would realistically want to participate in and that are appropriate for their lifestyle. And finally, work-life balance. In the last 5 years, I experienced a significant breakup, which was an upheaval to my living circumstance, and yet I still had to produce the projects and contracts that I had hustled for, and I had that my reputation was based on. I cycled near burnout with a lot of work stress and competing demands and trying to manage different expectations. And the challenge of the budget. How do I choose activities when the pressure is to pay the bills and not necessarily what's best for the community or not necessarily what I'm most passionate about, but the reality that operating a business has some bills and living a life has some bills, and this is a big motivating factor as I arrange my work schedule. How do I balance stress? When can I take a break? And is this career financially sustainable? So these are some of the questions I'll leave us with. What support is needed? What's already in place, and is it working? How do these early challenges impact the career trajectory? And this famous quote, never a failure, always a lesson, but it sure is hard sometimes to understand what that lesson is without the wisdom of experience.